Hey guys, I was just looking at this video about Google Glass. This is like the first incarnation of something I've been expecting to see technologically for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I might have. But basically these glasses, which are in their infancy right now, are going almost certainly going to grow and become much more technologically advanced, and then they're going to put audio in them, and it's going to be rather intense. And there's an advantage to this from the MGTOW point of view, just as we've also seen advantages for, especially for like young men, the wide availability of porn on the internet has made us largely independent of women for the most part, and which is just as well, because you know how women are all chasing pretty much the top 20%, top 10% alpha types, right? They're all competing and sort of taking turns with the really best looking guys, the wealthiest guys, of course with online dating and everything, and they're just under the impression that they are going to be able to land such a guy, but the truth is all they can do is sleep with him, if that. But that's not our problem. And of course it would be bad if men had no options, no other outlet. But just in time, the wide availability of free porn has rendered women largely obsolete. If a guy wants to see beautiful women, he can dial them up on the internet and see all he wants. This is, and the porn industry is just the beginning of men's independence from women, because we've got like basically we don't have to be completely hard up anymore. I don't know if anybody has a case of blue balls anymore. Although I did a little bit back in the military. We were in a situation where there were women around, military intelligence company, and yet there was no way to sort of get released, so to speak. So that shit sort of built up inside you, and it made you uncomfortable. Well, anyway, with Google Glass, we are going to see an increase in men's independence from women. We are going to be able to sort of just overlay a whole cyber world over the real world. We'll have glasses, and if anybody is a welder or has welded, you may have seen the electronically activated welding goggles. Basically, they become totally opaque, well, not totally, but extremely dark sunglasses, so that the moment you begin the welding process, the glasses instantly sense it far faster than your optics, your actual eyes can before they can be damaged by the extreme bright light. I mean, you can even get a sunburn from welding if you weld with your skin exposed. But basically, it instantly senses the light and then immediately gets dark. Boom, right? And what we're going to see with these next generations, or the oncoming generations of these Google Glass and their competitors, we're going to see glasses similar to that, and that will be semi-transparent, and then in certain areas, if there's something you don't want to see, it'll be able to blank it out. For example, you could like look straight up in the sky, and the only thing the sun would look like is just this little black dot. And you could look around and look right at the sky or right at the sun, and your eyes would be protected. You will also be able to almost certainly do things like look at your house or your apartment or whatever and call up a painting program and then paint the walls virtually with your ability to see, and you'll be able to see the walls painted as you want them to be painted. And instead of seeing, say you don't have a very attractive girlfriend or something, you can change her appearance. Guys who marry a woman need not ever see her get fat. You could immediately just freeze her appearance as the way she was when you married her. And of course there's things that guys of course don't want to see. For example, we don't want to be accused of ogling some chick that we shouldn't ogle, right? Say if you're 50 years old almost like me and a 18-year-old beautiful hot chick happens to walk by, she probably wouldn't like me to be looking at her, and I wouldn't want to be looking at her really. What's the point of looking at what you can't have, right? And if she caught me looking, it could be embarrassing and irritating for her, you know. But the awesome thing about it is you will be able to forget people, you know, like make them effectively disappear, kind of like blocking comments or blocking YouTubers, or in Usenet or other online forums. You can actually select certain people that you don't like and forget them, so that whenever their comments show up, you just can't see them. They don't exist for you. And also we'll have auditory enhancements as well. We'll be able to listen to music walking along or whatever. And if there's a person that you don't like, you can sort of just blank them out, and the only thing you will see is the wall behind him, because it'll be in the database what the wall looks like behind the person. And the only thing you'll be able to see of the person that you dislike is maybe just an outline, so that you don't walk into it, right? And of course, if anybody's familiar with electronic mufflers for engines, what happens is it's basically a big speaker that's in the exhaust pipe, and it senses when a pressure wave of the sound comes up, and the speaker then moves back, right? And then it generates a sound that's the inverse of the sound of the engine, right? And then it turns the engine noise, and it just cuts it down to almost nothing, just a whisper. And if that person that you don't like is shouting or whatever, all you would hear is just this little whispering noise, but something easy to ignore. You of course would be able to render the power of women, right? The mini skirt power, as Warren Farrell called it. You would be able to basically eliminate a whole group of people if you want to. You know, for example, if there's a cute chick you don't want to be attracted to at work, or you might be able to give her a chance. I think you're cute. And she says, I'm not interested in you, dork. You could say, okay. Glasses, current subject, delete, right? And then from then on, that person would simply be a shadow, and you would never have to see her again. And if she did speak, and if it was necessary for you to hear what she says in professionally, you could substitute a computer-generated voice for her voice, and then you wouldn't even have to listen to her. And it would completely pull their fangs. It would completely make them completely, like, irrelevant. And they would not like that. They will not like that. So then, of course, if you're a teacher, right, and you don't want to be accused of anything with, say, if you're teaching a group of over-hormoned 16-year-olds, and you got to admit that some of those 16-year-olds look like women, right? Physically, they are women, except they have the brain of a freaking 16-year-old. But and you don't want to be attracted to them. You don't even want it to register. You just want those people to be people. You know, you don't want them to be anything more. So with the glasses, a male teacher would be able to just delete an entire class of people instead of a ridiculously exposed, very, very sexily dressed, extremely beautiful young woman. You would simply see an outline, maybe just some generic face, you know, some generic appearance, and nothing special, you know, nothing to write home about. And you could probably listen to their voices, because that wouldn't be an issue really. And you could function without any problem at all. not even the slightest twitch. Yeah, you would be free, basically. So that, and then of course, I think the porn industry would become dramatically more pronounced when you'd have 3D freaking all that stuff, right? It's like one step short of a holodeck. So then, it could continue, of course, by cities would have virtual versions of all the traffic lights and everything, and ways, you could navigate really easy, which is actually going to be in the Google Glass first generation that they say they're going to be selling them this year, believe it or not. I don't believe it. I don't think they'll have it out that quick. But anyway, the time could come when a lot of the things that are in reality, like, for example, payphones, traffic lights, signage, those might be maintained in the virtual world and not maintained in reality, in which case you would very much need those glasses just to function. And of course, ratings. You know how you go to Amazon or eBay or whatever, and you get seller ratings and ratings of individuals, and even YouTube videos are rated. Although we don't have YouTuber ratings, I don't believe. But people would be able to see at a glance if a lot of people have had a lot of problems with this person. If somebody's a jerk, for a long time throughout human history, if someone was a jerk, that was a real problem because everybody in their little tribe would know that he was a jerk or she was a jerk, and then they couldn't get away with shit, right? And nowadays, of course, in the big anonymous world that we live in, you go downtown or something, everybody there you see, you'll probably never see again. So jerks can get away with a lot of stuff that they couldn't get away with a long time ago. But when ratings start popping up over people's heads on the virtual world, people would be warned, you know. Beware of this chick, she hosed me over in divorce court. Beware of this chick, she filed a false accusation for blah. And then multiple people making that review on her, people would start stepping back from that person and not approaching, not saying hi, not even having business with them. And if somebody is hiring, they might not want to hire that person. So suddenly we would be a large world, but we'd also be a small town in a way. So that has got some pros and cons to it. Any technology like that can be hacked and modified by sort of geeky types. So a lot of the controls, like the constant GPSing and everything that would affect a lot of normal people, wouldn't affect us because we can handle the technology. You know, we'd be able to put up firewalls and all that stuff. But there is, of course, when you get a small town and the government wants to control, which they always do, that could be a problem as well. So, but anyway, eventually the virtual world might look a good deal different from the real world. For example, if you decide to paint your house a certain color, right, and you do it in the virtual program to decide whether or not you want to paint it in reality, but then you realize that everybody's wearing the glasses, so you really don't even need to to paint your house. Just enough to keep it from rotting or water intrusion and stuff, and weeding your lawn. Boom, you've got the perfect virtual green lawn right there. You'd probably just want to mow the dingweeds down before they, you know, start impeding your steps or whatever. So eventually the virtual world might look dramatically different from the real world. And of course people have what they call avatars. Nowadays, you know, a lot of people on YouTube, they don't, I'm kind of old-fashioned. I just snapped a picture of myself and that's my avatar, right? But a lot of people don't do that. They have a picture of a dog or a puppy or somebody who's vastly hotter than they are. And basically a lot of people you would see would look way different from what they really actually look like. You'd probably have to lift up the glasses and take a peek to see what they really look like, or even if it's a girl. So, well, that's about it. You know, I think I talked about this before, but I don't know if I really shared my full vision of what I'm expecting, you know, in the past. I mean, in past videos. But I think we're probably going to see everything I described within about 10 years with the progress of technology. I'm certain I will see it before the end of my lifetime, which I've got like 30, possibly 40 years left. Maybe. We'll see. So, a little bit of interest. It's interesting to see things like the Google Glass and the computers and everything that I've been predicting for so long. It's interesting to start seeing it take shape and become reality. So we'll see where this goes later.